want to talk about something that's been causing a lot of heated debate in the mass media recently, or at this present time. Today, the BBC reported an article stating that part of a textbook, of a sociology textbook, had been taken away, simply because it was depicting stereotypes of black Caribbean families, specifically fathers. It stated that fathers often live away from the household or are absent from family upbringing due to the fact how they usually have professions or jobs and often leave, therefore, the mothers to look after the children or bring up the children through childhood. Now, this is quite interesting because I don't believe the sociology textbook about black Caribbean families was censored, not only because it was deemed to be offensive, or in fact it's not even being sold anywhere, it's been completely banned, sold in all, not unable to sell in all bookstores, but I also believe it's because it goes against the now modernity idealistic view of the family. Because the family is in danger. The family is in danger from extinction. The family is everything that liberals stand against, or anyone from the left stands against it. It's now seen as morally wrong, domineering towards women who are, due to the impact of feminism, are seeming to be more independent. It also empowers men over women, and also is unfair in terms of conjugal roles within the household. So the idea of the family is often left behind to, or favoured towards single parent families nowadays. That's why divorces and single parent households are often on the rise now, due to favouring over the traditional nuclear family. I mean, the traditional nuclear family is seen as practically the enemy of liberalism and everything that liberalism stands for. But I believe this report was showing the patriarchal, or, well, that's how liberals would name it, the patriarchal family that, as said before, liberals stand against and despise in today's society. It was showing how the man should be within the home, going out to be the breadwinner for the home, whilst the woman stays at home to, as I said before, look after the child upbringing. But now society is often against that. I mean, if a man stays at home and looks after the children, that's often seen as a positive. A woman to have a job, that's often seen as a positive. Sort of a flip between the two roles of the home is seen as more beneficial nowadays. So I think it's showing how definitely times are changing, but this problem isn't just about families, it's about a wider, almost clenching down of anything that goes against liberal ideas, and that is the fist of political correctness that is sweeping over our society nowadays. Anything that goes against liberal ideas is oppressed, is not for us, is against us, is wrong morally on all and practically every level. And people are accepting it. People are accepting it. They don't realise what the media is trying to censor. They don't realise what the media is trying to block out. Because that's all liberalism is. It says, oh, they strive for equality and they love everyone and they are against nobody. But yet, they don't take into consideration other cultures that may have a slightly more patriarchal family, that may have different roles within the family that is not seen as liberating to women or unfavourable towards women. They may have these roles, but liberalism won't accept other cultures. Liberalism, actually, its main goal is to destroy diversity. It sees humanity as living under one culture, and that one culture is for absolute freedom. But with absolute freedom, people become disconnected. People become aimless. People have nothing in common. People are all the same. People share no values or no goals or no norms or no beliefs. People are adrift. They're bereft. They feel that their establishment has failed them, and so they turn on themselves. And that is why, nowadays, people aren't knowledgeable about what is going on, about all this political correctness, because quite frankly, they don't care. They don't care. As long as they can live with their own lives in their own way, they don't care. They don't care. Because quite frankly, they don't want to be perceived as not being nice. Against equality, against moral values, against what is morally right, against what humanity is supposed to strive for, against what humanity is supposed to live in peace and love. Peace and love is quite frankly what weakens humanity. Under the fist of political correctness, people are not allowed to voice their own opinion. All opinions must be compliant with that of liberalism. But some people are deeply afraid. Some people are deeply afraid about political correctness and about the destruction of the family and the destruction of Western society and the adriftness between people, the unconnection between groups. People are deeply afraid, but obviously they don't want to not seem to be nice, so they comply. They comply to political correctness. They comply to stuff like this. They don't want to see that the family is, or the ideal, modern ideal certainly of the family is being altered, because it's horrible and not nice towards women. It's horrible and not nice towards men. People must realise that it's not the state's responsibility to decide on what roles men and women have within the family. Quite frankly, it's families' own decisions. The state have no responsibility or in no position to decide that. They're in no position to decide that. They're also in no position to decide on what people's beliefs are. If people want to be patriotic and nationalistic and favourable towards their own kind, so be it. But it's all because it goes against the ideas of liberalism. That it empowers human conflict between different groups. And that conflict is what's brought humanity down. But yet, they fail to realise that conflict is part of human nature. Battling for supremacy is part of human nature. And you can't argue against human nature. And it's the exact same thing with the family. Women have more of a in a biological sense, more of a loving and caring